the New Orleans Saints are interested in trading Alvin Kamara. So it said that the Saints are open to trading Kamara, and Kamara is open to moving. This is something that, as a Saints fan, a lot of us have been talking about right now. Or not right now, but last year. In the NFL, running backs are kind of an interesting beast anyways. They just do not hold up like they used to. And I'm not even talking about just physically, even though that's true. Like physically, you're talking about a running back really having like 3 to 5 years, and then they start to kind of fall apart. And if there's any injuries early on, then those years just shrink up even worse. So, I mean, you can see it with Todd Gurley. Todd Gurley went from being the best player in the league to completely unplayable. So Kamara was probably, I would say, arguably, probably a top 3 running back at one point in the NFL. And he was beloved in New Orleans. He was a huge cog for the team, a huge thing. And then Mark Ingram left. And when Mark Ingram left, Kamara kind of got hurt. It seemed like he just didn't want to be there anymore. It seemed like he was just kind of disgruntled. He seemed like he just didn't. It wasn't the same player. Now, look, I don't know Alvin Kamara. I'm not sure what was going on. I can't. All I can do is guess. All I can do is guess a little bit. But I think he was injured. I think people, a lot of people hold on to the idea that he was injured, and that's why he wasn't very good. And I think he might have been injured, but I think he started ducking out of bounds a lot. He started shying away from hits a lot. It was just a very different player. Simultaneously, Taysom Hill exploded for the Saints, and Taysom Hill became a player that really should have been on the field. Like should have been on the field every single game or every play. And it got to the point to where he became more dangerous than Alvin Kamara. He became a better player for us than Alvin Kamara. And somehow Kamara became a worse version of Kamara, and Taysom Hill became a better version of Kamara. Like we basically had 2 Alvin Kamaras on the field or on the Saints roster, and somehow the real Alvin Kamara became the worst version, as crazy as that sounds. So what do you do when you have a Latavius Murray, and then you have Alvin Kamara, and then you have another Alvin Kamara and Taysom Hill? Well, if it's me and I can save money or I can get picks or I can get players, I trade the worst version of the second back. And right now, in my opinion, Alvin Kamara is worse for the New Orleans Saints than Taysom Hill. I think Taysom Hill, right now, after last year, is more dangerous and is better for the team than Kamara. With also, another point to that is that I think that we could get more for Kamara than Taysom Hill. I think people believe in Kamara. I think they look at him like, hey, man, this guy's ceiling is so high. This guy arguably was like an MVP candidate. What can we get for him? What can we get? If we can get a couple picks for him, a decent player for him, let's go. Let's go. Now, it is kind of a bad time because we are supposed to be going for a Super Bowl. We're supposed to be going for the Super Bowl. We're supposed to be we're in the last part of the window here, and we're trying to win while Drew Brees is still in the Saints. Because once Drew Brees is gone, we're going to enter a pretty serious rebuilding unless Jameis Winston becomes the man. So it does hurt to be like, hey, let's lose Kamara and just get some picks, because that's kind of counterintuitive to trying to win now. But it's better than having Kamara touch the ball 12 times a game and do absolutely nothing. I mean, last year, he was touching the ball 14, 15 times a game, and those 14, 15 touches were almost wasted plays. So removing those plays, to me, just makes more sense for the betterment of the Saints. I like Kamara. I know it sounds like I'm bashing him. I've always liked Kamara, and I was one of the ones in the stands in the Superdome saying, look, he's hurt. I was putting way more blame on the medical staff, Sean Payton, because even if he's playing hurt, if you're Sean Payton, you've got to know that. And you have to say, okay, well, instead of giving him 15 touches, we're going to drop him down to 6 touches since he's hurt. But they never did that. They kept just feeding him over and over. And then that's where a lot of that miscommunication came in, where a lot of the fans were like, look, he's touching the ball 15 times. If he's touching the ball 15 times, there's no way he's hurt. And then the other half is like, well, maybe it's the medical staff, maybe it's the coaching. I don't know. So, a lot of that. Now, in here it says that he's entering the final year of his deal, and then he's looking for somewhere between 4-year $48 million and 4-year $64 million. Now, it says he's reportedly not asking for Christian McCaffrey money, but even 4 years, $48 million is way too high. Way too high. I don't think the Bengals should have. I don't think, to go to my first point, I don't think anyone besides like a generational running back should be getting paid really at all. Like the Todd Gurley deal, easy to say now, but that's, I think, the last one of those you'll see for running backs. I think running backs are just, first of all, they don't suit the game at all. The NFL is shifting so far away from running backs and so quickly, it's just super obvious. Like Christian McCaffrey had one of the best seasons a running back's ever had last year, and the Panthers were awful. If a quarterback has as good of a quarterback season as McCaffrey had a running back season, that team is in the playoffs. That team might win the Super Bowl. So I don't think that there's the reason to pay running backs anymore. I just don't see. It's a different game. They just don't exist. You will never see the the Sean Alexander, Priest Holmes style running back, Ricky Williams, who just carries the ball 60 times a game, 50 times a game, and that's it. The game is way too fast. If you have the best running back in the league and you run him 40 times against the Chiefs, you're going to get blown out because the Chiefs are just going to score. And then you're sitting there running for 4 or 5 yards a carry. So it's hard for me to ever be like, yeah, man, pay Kamara $50 million. Like for what? He might not even be the second best running back on the team, much less worth $50 million. So I think he has that. I think he has that working against him as well. Now he is in a good position where he's a bit more of like a catching running back. He's a bit more of a receiver back, a little bit more of a versatile back, which I think is important. But he ain't Le'Veon Bell, or at least he isn't Le'Veon Bell when Le'Veon Bell left Pittsburgh. And look what happened there. He was in a good system. He was an incredible player. He was one of the most versatile players, all that stuff. But, they replace him immediately. And it's like, yeah, I mean, you can't blame Le'Veon Bell for going to chasing the money. And you can't blame Pittsburgh for saying, look, man, no offense, but we can find you anywhere. Alvin Kamara, Rookie of the Year. Alvin Kamara, super good player. Alvin Kamara, arguably a top 3 running back in the league when he was not hurt. And they replaced him with Taysom Hill. So it's like, it ain't hard to replace these guys. It's just the nature of the beast. It's just the nature of the game right now. So I think this is a good move for the Saints. I think it's correct for the Saints. Where he goes, I don't think it really matters, to be honest. I just hope the Saints get something. I hope the Saints get anything. I hope they don't just let him walk or any of that stuff, but I would rather him walk than pay him. That's what I would do. I'd rather Kamara just walk, we part our separate ways, than the Saints overextend and say, hey, man, here's $60 million. Here's $50 million. Because at the worst or at the best case last year, he was hurt. So now you're paying $50-60 million for a hurt player, especially at running back, who already has the shortest career out of all positions. At the worst case, he's just not good anymore. He's just not the same player. And then you're overpaying a guy who just isn't that great of a player anymore. I really hope that Kamara was hurt. Kamara walks. Kamara goes to a different team, has a good career. The Saints get something in return or whatever, and the Saints have a good couple years with Drew Brees. I hope it all works out for everybody. I don't wish ill on Kamara. I think he's been good for the Saints. I enjoyed him when he was playing, but sometimes it just doesn't work. Doesn't work. We about to find out soon. Basically, every running back has his contract up next season. Yeah, I mean, let's just take a look NFL rank. Yeah, we'll go rank. Let's look at the rankings. Let's just look at these backs. This is the PFF rankings for this upcoming season. McCaffrey, I think we all agree McCaffrey's probably the best back. Nick Chubb, Alvin Kamara, Saquon Barkley, Aaron Jones, Ezekiel Elliott. Like, these guys are all just kind of 2 years ago. 2 years ago, people would have said Saquon Barkley was a generational running back. Saquon Barkley is a once in a lifetime running back. He is incredible. Should have been first overall pick. Best player on the Giants. Best this, best that, whatever. And then what? A year later, he's replaced by Nick Chubb. You know, like, I'm nothing against Nick Chubb, but I think you can find Nick Chubbs all over the place. You know, so same with Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry was floating around in Tennessee, just sitting around in Tennessee, and now he might be the best back in the league. Josh Jacobs, out of nowhere. Austin Eckler. I mean, these guys, Chris Carson. I mean, these guys, you can find these guys. You can find these guys. I mean, the difference between, Melvin Gordon, another one. Melvin Gordon 2 years ago was probably a top 5 back in one of these rankings. And just that fast, he falls all the way down to 19. You know, like the running back lifespan is so quick. So quick. So quick. You know. I don't think there's much of a difference between Aaron Jones and Melvin Gordon. I really don't. And they have Aaron Jones at 5 and Melvin Gordon at 19. I think if you had Mark Ingram over Aaron Jones, I don't think the gap is that big from 5 to 15. Now, I think if you look at the 5th ranked quarterback versus the 15th ranked quarterback, is an enormous drop off. And that's kind of my whole thing with running backs, is that I don't believe the drop off is that big. IMO. I watched this live at Betos with a bunch of people, and it was the most quiet bar of all time at the end.
Well, our washer just called it quit.
Oh, God, what a guy. What a player. I actually just recently watched a bunch of LeBron James highlights. Joe Mixon is top 5. Belichick called him the best back in the league after playing against him. The Bengals' disrespect is incredible. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. He might be. That's what I'm saying. Like, if you told me Joe Mixon is a top 5 running back, if you told me Joe Mixon is better than Aaron Jones, I'd be like, yeah, sure. I can see it. I don't know. I don't think it might as well. This list might as well be Christian McCaffrey 1, and then everyone else is tied for 31st. Like, it's all just the same to me. It's just like, yeah, like, hey man, do you want Austin Eckler or Chris Carson? I don't know, dude. I don't know. I would rather have Mark Ingram. I'm telling you, I'd rather have Mark Ingram than, any of these guys. Like, give me Mark Ingram over Aaron Jones. Sure. It's just it's a weird position. The running back position is very weird right now. And it's kind of like a direct, like, correlation kind of thing where as, like, the Patrick Mahomes and players like that, as the quarterback go up, the running back's just going to go down. Or they're going to change. They're going to turn into, like, big-time receivers, stuff like that. Because it doesn't make any sense to be like, all right, we're playing the Chiefs. What's the strategy? We're gonna run through Aaron Jones. Like, we're probably going to have to be throwing the football. I would honestly say that I would rather have, let me go to the quarterback rankings. Carson Wentz. So Carson Wentz, Dak Prescott, like the bottom of the top 10 here, somewhere in there. You could throw any of these guys. I would rather have Carson Wentz or Dak Prescott or Jimmy Garoppolo or Phillip Rivers, Kyler Murray, I would rather have them than every single running back on here except Christian McCaffrey and maybe Saquon Barkley. But if you told me I could trade straight up any of these guys for any of those quarterbacks, I'm doing it. Like if I'm starting a team, if I'm starting a franchise.